everyone, welcome back to a brand new video from Lekhapora Online. In today's video, I'm going to be discussing some strategies and tips for managing time for your Ielts reading exam. So before I get started, make sure you click on the thumbs up button if you like this video, share it with your friends if you think that they might be interested in this kind of video, and also subscribe to our channel. You can also click on the notification button so that you are notified every time we upload a video. Okay, so let's get started. Again, your Ielts reading exam has 40 questions, and these questions are from 3 different passages or sections, and you have 1 hour for the whole exam. And when I say 1 hour, it means that you need to finish your exam in 60 minutes in one sitting. You can't say that I want to do 30 minutes first and then take 15 minutes break and then do the rest of the 30 minutes. You have to do the whole 60 minutes at one sitting. And this also includes any toilet breaks or anything like that, so keep that in mind. And there are 40 questions. These questions, so there are a lot of different types. For this question, you get MCQs, you get matching questions, and then identifying right or claims, and so on. So actually, I have another series where I discuss all the types of questions that you can find in the reading exam of Ielts, and if you're interested, you can watch the whole series so you get a deeper, better understanding about the types of questions that you might expect in the Ielts exam. And in that series, I actually explain all the types, and I share some strategies and tips that will help you tackle those types of questions. I also share some example questions and samples with you. So hopefully that will also help you prepare for your Ielts exam. And there are 3 sections or passages, and it doesn't matter if you're taking the general training reading exam or the academic reading exam, the format is the same. There are some differences between these two. So if you, another thing that I want to share with you guys is that I have another video about the differences between the general training reading and the academic reading. So if you like, you can watch that too and try to understand the differences between these 2 exams and identify which one you're actually supposed to sit for. And yeah, so let's get started. So right away, when I say 60 minutes for 40 questions, people just divide 60 by 40 and say that they have 1.5 minutes for each question, which is actually incorrect. That is because you need to figure out time. You need to figure out how much time you should spend for reading the articles and also for answering the questions. So your reading exam is not you just going there to answer the questions. You have to figure out how much time you need for reading the passages and the sections, and also answer the questions. So the main problem here is to identify how much time you should spend for reading the passages and also for answering the questions. So in this video, I will tell you the ideal time allocation for these 2 sections, and if you think that if you solve some sample papers and you think that my suggestion is wrong and you think that your time allocation is better, you can also follow that, so that's not a problem. But my suggestions are the ideal scenarios that will help all the students, because different students might spend different time in for these 2 sections for reading and answering. So just try to solve question papers and try to figure out what works best for you. You can try out my suggestions and see if that works for you. Okay? So for reading passages, I suggest that you spend a maximum of 5 minutes for each of the sections. Again, there are 3 sections. For general training, you have the same amount of sections as the academic, so 3 for general and 3 for academic. But for general training, what happens is, for let's say for the first section, you might actually get 2 different text passages, okay? And for the second, you get another one, and then for the other, for the last section, you get another one. So in total, you have 4 text paragraphs or passages to read. But the first one actually has 2 passages, so it is still considered one section. So for each section, I suggest that you spend no more than 5 minutes. So for the first section, you spent 5 minutes, and then the second, you spent 5 again, and then for the third. So a total of about 15 minutes. Okay? So that's my suggestion, because you need more time to answer in the questions than to actually read the passages. Okay? So how do you actually save time when reading the passages or the sections, whatever you say? So before you start reading the passage, you can go through the questions after the passage and try to identify any key points. So what happens when you identify these key points is basically it will help you when you're reading the passage. You know what to look for. You know what questions you need to answer. Again, when I say skim through the questions, it doesn't mean you go word by word and read each and every question. You just skim through the questions and try to identify the key points. You can underline it, highlight it, and then when you're reading the passages, you know exactly what you're searching for, what kind of words you're searching for, what kind of phrases you're searching for, what questions you need to answer. So that way you can read the passage and save time while you're doing that. Okay, you should also, as you can see here, develop your speed reading skill. So the first time you read each passage, make sure that you read it carefully. So you won't be able to read each of the passages or sections over and over again, because this is a timed exam and you need to be able to finish your exam on time to actually get a good grade. So make sure you are good at speed reading. Speed reading is, you can read through quickly and actually understand what's going on. Because I know some people who can read really fast, but they don't really understand what the text passage is trying to say. So that doesn't really help you here. You should be able to read a text passage quickly, but also understand what the text passage is trying to explain, trying to convey. Okay. So, here are some more tips. So if you come across a word that you don't know the meaning of, you can try to use the context and try to guess the meaning of the word. Okay, so here you can see we have an example. So, Mary is such an age lass, she didn't laugh once during the Charlie Chaplin movie. So this is, let's say that this was actually in one of the passages and you don't know the meaning of this word, age lass. So you can actually try to understand how it is being used and try to identify what it might mean. So age last, so it is a describing word. It's describing the person Mary, right? So it's an adjective, so we know that. And this sentence, it's saying that Mary is an age lass. She's an age lass and she didn't laugh once during the Charlie Chaplin movie. So Charlie Chaplin movies are famous because they're funny, and the fact that Mary didn't laugh even once when she watched a funny movie, you can actually put it together and think maybe Mary is a person who doesn't take jokes too well, or maybe she doesn't laugh. So that's how you can actually try to figure out the meaning of words that you don't know by using the context of the sentence, okay? So the actual meaning of age last is actually a person who never laughs. So we actually got it from how it was being used in the sentence, right? So that's how you can actually, use context of a sentence, try to identify the meaning of words, and so that will help you when you're reading passages, okay? Then another thing that I want to say is you should pay attention to the introduction and conclusion. A lot of answers are from those two parts, the introduction and conclusion. And the introduction and conclusion will also give you an idea of the whole passage itself, because that's where, like, the introduction basically starts off the passage and conclusion is the end of the passage or section. And you should also read the headings. This is also something which is very important. The heading also gives you a lot of information about the passage that you're about to read, and will also save you time because you know what to expect because you have read the heading. And you should also improve your skill to search read. Now, what does search read actually mean? So search read is, let's say you have read the passage once and then you have now moved on to answering the questions, and you find a question that you don't know the answer of. So you need to go back and read the passage and try to find out where this question is from, where the answer might lie. So you need to go through the passage. So you won't have time to read it over and over again every time you come across a question that you didn't know the answer of. So you have to quickly go through the whole passage and try to identify the keywords or the phrases that were used from the question to find the answer there. So that is search read. Okay, so you're searching for phrases or words when you're reading a passage or skimming through a passage. Okay, and so this one you have to improve your skill for this. Yeah, so this is what search read is. So you can see here. Now, another thing that I like to highlight is when you're search reading, you might not get the exact word from the question, okay, so, or the exact phrase. So you might get either the exact word or phrase, or you might get synonyms of the word. So let's say you're looking for information from the question, and it can be same word or synonym. So what is a synonym? Synonym is also known as similar word. Similar word, let's say there's a word like big. So some synonym of big would be large or humongous and so on. So now that you know what synonym is, it will be easier for you to actually identify what I'm trying to say next. So over here, let's say in the question it says chocolate pie. And then in the passage that you're reading, it says the same word, chocolate pie. So it's the exact same word. So it's easier for you to find where exactly the answer to this question lies in the passage. But let's say they're using paraphrase. So in the text that you read, it says something that isn't aware of blah, blah, blah. But in the question, it says don't know about. But these two phrases actually mean the same thing. So your answer is actually from that section, that related to this phrase, okay? So you should be able to understand paraphrase when you're paraphrasing, when you're answering these questions. And synonym is, let's say they're saying that we found, in the question, they're saying that there was something big, what was that big thing? And when you're reading the text, you can find anything related to big, but there are mentions about something large, so that's exactly where the answer lies. So if you're able to search read like this, if you're able to search read exact word, if you're able to search read paraphrases, if you're able to search read for synonyms, then it will help you a lot when answering questions in the reading module, okay? So improve on this skill. So that was all about reading passages. Now we're moving on to answering the questions. So if you can't answer a question, come back to it later. So this is something that I tell a lot of people, and it's not really something that you should do only for this reading exam. You should do it for any exam, because if, let's say you couldn't answer question number 2, and then you spent half an hour trying to figure it out, and then you were able to answer it, and then you only have 5 minutes left of your exam, and you have 5 more questions to answer, which you know all the answers to. Okay, so but you only have 5 minutes, so you won't be able to answer all those questions. So if you come across a question that is really hard or really confusing, or you really don't understand how to answer it, then just try maybe 1 minute or 2 minutes, and then just go and answer the other questions, because maybe you know the answers to the rest of the questions, okay? So go and answer the other questions, and then come back to it later if you have time, because again, the reading exam is a timed exam. It's very important that you are able to manage your time well, okay? And try to answer every question. Let's say there is one question that you came across and you're not sure about the answer, but you think that the answer you chose might be correct, then just choose it, okay? Because it when there's no negative marking in this exam. So if you write a wrong answer, then you won't be getting negative points for that, okay? So just write whatever you think is correct, and it might end up being correct, and then you might and then you will be getting marks for that question, right? And don't spend more than 20 minutes reading and answering combined for one passage, because you have 60 minutes, so make sure you don't cross the 20 minutes limit for each section, because if you do, then you will have really less time for the last section. Another thing that I want to mention is for your reading exam, like academic reading exam, the sections actually get harder. So the first section is actually a little easier. Like candidates think that the first section is a little easier to answer, and then the second one gets a little harder than the first section, and then the last one is the most difficult or complex section. So if you're sitting for your academic reading and you see that you're writing answers for your first section and you finished before the 20 minutes mark, then just move on to the next one, because you might end up needing more than 20 minutes for your last section, okay? So keep that in mind. And then, again, answering the questions, identify keywords from the questions when searching for answers. I actually told you this before. For search reading, when you before you actually start reading the passage, go through the questions, skim through them, and try to identify the keywords so you know what exactly you're looking for when you're reading the passage. Try to spare 3 to 5 minutes for checking the answers. Again, I know I said that you shouldn't be spending more than 20 minutes, but it doesn't mean that you should wait for 20 minutes for each of the section, like even if you're done early. So you might actually be sparing some minutes here and there, and if you do have time after you've finished answering all the questions, then go ahead and check the questions, whether or not you've answered all the questions, whether or not you've missed some points out, or maybe there was a really difficult question. You can go back to that and try to answer that. So having like 2 or 3 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes at the end of the exam always helps. Okay, and don't wait last minute to transfer your answers from the question paper to the answer sheet. So for the reading exam, you actually have a separate question paper and answer sheet, so you have to like read the passage and the questions from this paper, and then you need to transfer your answers in the answer paper. So make sure you do that as you go. Like don't think that, okay, I'll wait for the last 5 minutes and then I'll transfer the questions, transfer the answers. Okay, try to do it at one, like you do one section. Okay, you answer the questions and then you transfer the questions, transfer the answers right away, and that way you won't have to hurry at the end of the exam to transfer the answers. Okay. Next, when searching for a keyword in the passage, skim through the passage quickly. Don't read every sentence. This is also, I've already mentioned this when I was explaining search reading, so keep that in mind. And second and third passages are more complex than the first one, so try to finish the first one quickly. So this is also something I told you already for the academic reading exam. The last section especially is a little bit more complex than the other two, so try to finish the other two quickly, and then you can attempt the last one with quite a few minutes in your hand. Okay, and also read the instructions carefully. I've seen a lot of people who actually attempt sample exams, and then they think that that they know the instructions, the questions, but for your actual exam you might get different instructions than that of the sample exam. So make sure you read the instructions carefully. Before the actual exam, time yourself while you're doing practice exams. So when you're doing sample papers, time yourself and check how long you're taking for each of the sections, how long you're taking to read the passages for each of the sections, whether or not you can actually finish on time, and what type of questions are actually taking up more than expected time, and try to figure out how you should do them so that you are not spending a lot of time on them, and so on. And you should solve all the types of questions found in the Ielts reading exam so that you know exactly what to expect. You should come up with your own ways to solve them, or maybe watch my videos, watch other videos, try to figure out which way works for you best, which way enables you to answer the questions fast and accurately. And also don't panic. Again, panicking is not going to help you. It's actually going to make you panicking basically lowers your confidence down, and you don't want that during your exam, right? So try not to panic, and just keep calm. And that's actually it for this video. I hope that these tips and strategies will help you finish your exam on time. And again, if you like this video, don't forget to click on the thumbs up button, and I will see you again soon for another video. Bye.